Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming out and listening to this lecture. So really quick, this is how do we put the intern experience on our CV, or in your case, resume. So I just arbitrarily took a resume that wasn't too bad, and we'll just use this. So if you notice, you've got professional experience, right? The question is, which is very important, do you want to put additional internship experience? That depends on your goals. So let's say, for example, you're trying to get a research job, right? Now, a lot of these internships that we do in the courses are research, so based. So you could basically say research experience, and then you could add other experience in addition to this. So you could do internship, research experience. You could also just put it in your professional experience. So it really depends on what you want to do on your resume. Headers are funny things. These are headers. You have professional experience, volunteer experience, etc. So it depends. Let's just go for internship experience, right? And I like the idea of professional experience up here opposed to, say, work experience. Professional sounds better. So look at this. We've got the open justice project, which I've used a number of times. This semester I didn't use that one, but just to say, so what do you do? Well, just think about the semester. So the semester starts in, say, August, let's just say, for the lack of, to what, December. So you just put to, what's this year? 223, and I'm still alive. Imagine that. So you'd want to go, you don't have to highlight that because that's not as important. You want to highlight the important information. So you can go over here. This person has it a little differently, but this is a little different from me. You might be, this is pretty good. I actually put this up here because the person had it down here, which I thought was, a waste of space. You want the best spacing on your resume. So I'm just throwing it over here. Oop, there you go. So what did you do in this project? That's what you have to see now. A lot of people say adjective describe things, right? Pretty. That town is very pretty, right? Just like you would in junior high school, right? Okay, that's an adjective, etc. Action verbs actually help us understand better. They serve as adjectives in a way. So what you want to do is ask yourself what action verb you did. So let's say, for example, you researched right there. That's a good word. Researched, right? How do you spell that? Research blank, whatever you researched, right? So in the case of this Chicago Justice Project, Open City Scares, they were researching different cities. So researched police brutality, brutality. Say it wasn't just Chicago, they did it in different cities, say, throughout, New York City, say. So you definitely want that. Throughout, two O's, no. So you basically have something like that. So research, but then you got to start thinking about other things, right? Let's say you worked with other people, right? And you could say collaborated in a group project. Let's say you work with people and you were the main person. One of the best action verb words, if it fits, this doesn't just go for internship, but other types of things to put on your resume. Mentored students, right? You could say just other things. Say, for example, coded. In this case, you coded, for, police brutality or something. In the more recent ones I've been doing, some students actually, you could say authored articles to be published in the newsletter. That was another one we just did. You could do things like that, but you want, for me, it's the action verb. People use, particularly with the ed, etc., because some people use the gerundio, that's the gerund ing. I don't really like it. I like kind of this person has it, like, because it's present. Analyze needs, explain to customers, collaborate with the team, etc. So you want those kinds of action verbs up there. So that's very, very important for me. Advocated, encouraged, helped, motivated. You present, let's say you presented in some of these, you have to present. So you say, oh, I presented, I examined, different police precincts throughout the United States, etc. I tested, if you're doing other types of research, things like that are very useful. So you've got to ask yourself what you want to use. Another thing is interviewed people. In some of these, we do interviews. So you do like interviewed people, developed. Sometimes we develop things, maybe developed research projects. So that's how you basically want to do this type of thing, depending on what your goal is. So this has internship experience, which is good, particularly if you have 2 or 3 internships, then you could just add this to it. You just get the name of the internship. This is just one. I've done a ton. You could also one we researched, one you did actually questions for a panel, right? So you could say, for example, developed, poignant and relevant questions for a panel on trauma and recovery. Things like that are very, very important to kind of see. What did you do? And remember, when you say authored or you research, etc., you are developing things, right? Write or wrote, these are simple words. You could start looking. I do it in more my professional development course on all the action verbs that you can basically do. And then you not only, you'd kind of develop better action verbs, etc. Because I think action verbs really help. Or you could do, like, instead of developed, you could say contributed, because you wrote for a panel. You could say contributed to research, or contributed to a panel on trauma and recovery, because there was a panel of people. You could say contributed to the research of this. When you start getting into higher level research and statistics, I also have a short lecture on how to put that on. So again, you want this header, internship, research experience, depending on what you're doing, what you think is better for you. You put just the name, right? And then here, now, obviously, if it's not called the Chicago Justice Project, they're in Chicago. I think it might actually be Washington, D.C. You can always put where they're located. So some are in Canada. So, like, say, Toronto, Canada. You're going to put this back. I don't, thanks. So I don't think that this area here needs to be bold. That's another thing people do in there. Resumes, what should be bolded? That becomes the question. And don't forget also, this is just a side, a lot of jobs that people don't like waitressing, waitering, etc. There's a lot of good skills you develop in those jobs. So you can literally write, for example, let's say you're a bartender or a waitress and you had to deal with, say, drunks or other difficult people. You can see engage in conflict resolution, diplomatically solved issues, etc. Because a lot of those jobs, although we don't see them as like high-end, high-skilled jobs, you do develop important skills with them. So I hope this was useful. This is basically for, I don't know if you say ripen or ripen, that we actually do in the courses where students have the opportunity in some of my courses to do an internship. But I think it's very important to learn how we kind of can develop this on the resume. And this is just one way. This is just a student before. Really quick, there's a summary, education, etc. This too, like, this is New American University Scholarship. I would put the amount, because that could be a massive amount and people are really impressed with that. did academic experience. I would do more research experience, and then you can put this there. So you can put the internship experience where you want. You can put it on the professional experience, volunteer, depending on what you're looking for. And then use the words like this is research proves police brutality. Let's say you're going to study psychology or something. You might want to say contributed to a panel on trauma and recovery. That looks really good. Or research environmental degradation or something like that. If it was in groups or teams, collaborate in a team project, in a group project. If you did any leadership, you could say mentored other students in order to develop blank. So you have just a strikingly broad range of ways to put this on. But I think with the action verbs, and depending on the header you want to use, you can really do this to your advantage so your resume really stands out. Take care, everyone.